After two devastating hurricanes hit the Tampa Bay area, U.S. representatives fought in Congress for millions of dollars in relief. And then earlier this month, Congress voted to cancel every one of those projects. The Tampa Bay region's 5 U.S. representatives secured at least $105.5 million in combined special projects this fiscal year. Congresswoman Ana Paulina Luna fought for Pinellas County, with St. Petersburg set to receive $9 million to help keep residents from being inundated by floodwater. Clearwater Beach was slated for nearly $1.8 million in improvements to keep stormwater at bay. The funding became collateral damage in the struggle to keep the federal government running after March the 14th. The bill didn't include local projects. Almost every Republican voted for it. All but one Democrat voted against the bill. Republican Congressman Vern Buchanan lost more local money than anyone, including more than $28 million for a Longboat Key storm resiliency project. Local projects are often criticized as pork or earmarks and were banned in 2011, only to be returned in 2021 with stricter rules. Representatives must sign forms indicating they do not benefit financially from the projects.
Janelle, what's your take on this? What are the communities supposed to do next? They were counting on this money and now it's not coming.
You're going to see a lot of conversations at the state level and at the county level, both in Hillsborough and Pinellas and other places that have been impacted by this. But I think something worth looking at in this is something that's not even actually directly related to those cuts, and that is the issue that's still plaguing Pinellas County beaches with beach nourishment. There is a hang up there with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers really being a stickler for the requirement that all beachfront property owners impacted by beach nourishment sign over their easements so that the Army Corps of Engineers can access that land. And that has not happened, so therefore the beach nourishment hasn't happened. And you mentioned Ana Paulina Luna. She's one of the people who's been fighting for that. So when you're already facing the lack of beach nourishment, which helps prevent damage from hurricanes, they're called barrier islands for a reason, you're really kind of exacerbating the next hurricane season. So that's really something that elected officials at whatever level are going to have to pay very close attention to and make sure that this double whammy doesn't make our next hurricane season that much worse.
Politically, it's been interesting to watch the conversations about who's saying what. Are we voting in favor of something that Trump is in favor of? It's really showcasing the insecurity about how do we deal with the Trump administration. Even among the Democrats, they are opposing each other publicly. Hakeem Jeffries and Nancy Pelosi has been very upset over Chuck Schumer's decision to go with a vote. Roberto, as a former Democrat, what does it do when you have these very high-profile Democrats arguing against each other at moments like this?
I think that's the reason why we came out independent. I mean, it's this idea that we had the most devastating hurricane season in the last 100 years affect our region, and now we're not going to have relief. This was our Katrina. This was our superstorm Sandy. Republican and Democrat, and both times there were tons of relief and effort to rebuild, and the fact that we were left in the dust, there's no Supermans coming. The idea that the federal government is a trusted partner to help us build our infrastructure that belongs to everyone is just not there anymore.
Travis, how do you feel about all of this?
An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right? So, I mean, I think you're going to see a bipartisan effort to claw back some of those funds federally. But those of us who don't live on the water and who aren't living on beachfront property are not as terribly concerned about it, obviously, right? So, I mean, but again, if you're more forward thinking and you think it will ultimately trickle down, it will impact the entire community, yes, we do want to see some of those improvements,
I think that's a really good observation. However, we just saw in this particular season that areas that were not on a specific flood zone plane became flooded. So it may not necessarily be that you're among the water. You don't have to live by the water to be affected by climate change.